All right, well, welcome back. We're going to take a look at a Bobcat T62 that had electrical issues. We're doing a little bit different style video today because my ability to film videos has been restricted. I'm getting a lot of pressure and what have you anyways, but I think it's important. I'll get into more of that toward the end of the video, but I think it's important that we still try to relay this information. I want you to understand that Bobcat is continuing to make improvements. You know, they hear what we're saying, they see the issues, and they're making improvements. And what we're doing to this T62 today is no exception. We had electrical problems, and it was kind of weird. It was kind of like a voltage drop issue. I was kind of going around looking for other things, and um, it was weird how it would kind of work, and then it wouldn't work, and then some things. So anyways, we knew we had an electrical issue. We started the battery in the grounds, you know, and stuff like that. And if we take a look at inside the machine here, we can see that it's full of course, wet dirt. It's really nasty inside there. And if we look at the upper left corner of this screen, all that white stuff, that's actually salt. So they were loading salt with this machine. So not only do we have wet mud, it's salty. So now we've got basically a brine down there, kind of an electrolyte of sorts. So kind of under that front lip, this is kind of like the main power fuse box that distributes the power to the rest of the machine, to the other fuse relay centers. And we can see that this one has pretty much rotted away under there. This machine, of course, only has 450 hours on it, but a little closer look here, you can see that the bus bar on the left side there is like completely gone. And I think that is due to loose nuts on the terminals there. Because, well, not only, with them being loose, of course, we're pulling a lot of current through there. And being mixed in that wet, salty solution, it's kind of like an accelerated electrolysis situation, it looks like, because I've seen machines buried in mud here, and it doesn't necessarily have this same effect as it did on this one. But I've seen this several times, and it seems like every time I see it, I go to tighten the nuts on those terminals, and they're just all really, really loose. So I think we've just got a high current situation right here with an accelerated form of electrolysis, and it completely just disintegrated that bus bar. So what I'm going to do is there's a kit that's available to repair this, but first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut out the old one. So I'm just using some cutters. You can see right off the main battery here, I'm going to cut that power lead going to that main fuse box. And see, I'm cutting it about 4 inches back. That's exactly how Bobcat wants you to do that according to the instructions. And also, if you see here, kind of where my finger's pointing on that, you can see where I cut the terminals off the power wires inside the machine side harness, because we're going to replace those terminals. And this is the bracket and the old fuse relay box out of the machine. And like I said, I just wanted you to see that I did cut the wires back a little bit. This is the kit number that you're going to find. See, the one that's rotted out, you're not going to be able to buy that anymore. You're not going to be able to replace those. I'm sure there's some aftermarket options because it's kind of just a MIDI fuse holder. But the actual updated kit here is Bobcat part number 7472524. And that's easily found on Bobcat Parts online. And you can call your dealer and get this kit as well. And what's cool about it is that, again, it comes with a really nice cable here. You can see our MIDI fuse holders. The fuses there, that's 2 80 amp fuses and a 50 amp fuse. That's the only thing the kit did not come with, is the actual fuses themselves. But you can see it comes with a new bracket, all the zip ties we need, a bunch of heat shrink, and the fuse holders themselves. And the kit is only like $125. So this is a really good deal. I would expect the kit to be quite a bit more expensive than that from the dealer. But yeah, at $125, this is a good fix. It's nothing to be mad about. You know, it's an updated kit. I think it's going to work better. It's got its pluses and minuses, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. A little bit closer look at the MIDI fuse holders and the actual cables that came with the kit. You can see they've already got their terminal ends on them. Moving along, this is the machine side harness. So after I cut the terminals off, sometimes that corrosion will go back into the wire, so we might have to cut that cable back a little bit further. I went ahead and stripped these far enough back, and we can see that we don't have any corrosion there, but that's one thing that we do need to pay attention to. Is some of the other ones I've done, the corrosion would go back an inch or two, and we have to cut all that cable off and strip. So we want a good clean surface, or good clean wires, I guess, before we crimp our new terminals on. Our new terminals, our new ring terminals, I mean, they're not super big. I think they're the big cables are 4 gauge, and the smaller cable is the that goes to the glow plugs. I believe that's a 10 or a 12. I think it might be a 12 gauge, or it could be a 10. I just don't remember off the top of my head. But either way, they're not huge, but I still like to use my hydraulic crimper. This is just a Harbor Freight hydraulic crimper. It works great on these smaller terminals, and that way you know you get a good full crimp all the way across that terminal. So we just want to make sure that we get them crimped on as good as we can. So I got them crimped on, and I don't have a picture of where I went ahead and put some heat shrink over that crimp. Maybe I do on the next photo, but I went ahead and attached. This is the cable coming off the battery that I went ahead and attached to those MIDI fuses, and we got that large heat shrink that's going to cover each fuse holder individually. And here you can see, see the black heat shrink on the wires here. That is that's the machine side harness. So I've already crimped the terminals on. I heat shrinked them. And look on the left side on that smaller wire. You see I've got another piece of heat shrink floating there. After I put it all together, there's one on each side of that smaller glow plug wire. Because what's going to happen when we shrink down that large tube that's going over the fuse holders, it's not going to shrink down enough to go over that smaller glow plug wire. So we're going to have to use that other small piece of heat shrink to go over the other end of that heat shrink that we shrunk down, to make sure we get a good solid seal on there. So here you can see where I went ahead and shrunk down the heat shrink on the fuse holders, and where I actually pushed that other piece of heat shrink up over the larger one. And it's all got, it's just the glue. This is a good high quality heat shrink that's got the glue inside, so it glues all the surfaces. We just want to make sure that this is watertight. And you can see on the end of the heat shrink on the wires where the glue kind of pushed out a little bit. And that just makes sure that we got a good watertight seal on these fuse holders. Here's another shot of it, just kind of looking over the top. You can see both left and right side of that smaller fuse holder, or the smaller wire, I guess, the 50 amp fuse for the glow plugs. You got a piece of heat shrink on both sides to make sure it's watertight. So really the only downside to this is those fuses are very well protected now. I don't think we're going to have that problem, but if we need to kind of troubleshoot this, it's kind of hard to check those fuses now, right? We'll have to follow that wire all the way up further into the machine and test it up there to see if we actually got voltage going through that, if we were to have a problem down the road. But it is rare that we have problems with those MIDI fuses there. I mean, you almost have to have a direct short to ground to blow one of those. Again, the two larger wires, the 4 gauge wires, those are 80 amp fuses, and the smaller wire there for the glow plugs is a 50 amp fuse. So now you can see that I've got those 3 fuse holders, the new assembly attached to a plate. It actually comes with the plate, the zip tie holders and everything to kind of separate those fuse holders, just make it look nice and clean and make it flow through there. So a whole new plate and everything. So you can see how good that top section looks and how much well protected it is than the the old style fuse holders. So much needed upgrade on that machine. Now remember that little 4-inch piece that we left kind of hanging on the end of that battery cable there where we cut it off. So Bobcat solution is to put a piece of heat shrink over that cable. I heated it up and got that glue melted, and then I folded over that backside and kind of held it in that position. And that way it just makes sure that that glue all glues together and kind of seals off the end of that, make sure it's watertight. And then once it cools down a little bit, I go ahead and put some tape over it. Now this is good harness tape. I don't use electrical tape in these machines. Electrical tape has its place, I guess, in machines, but for the most part, I really like to use harness tape whenever possible. And then on this final shot, we can kind of just see how that main battery cable is kind of routed up over the battery. A couple zip ties to kind of hold it in place. And this is exactly like Bobcat instruction shows it to be. So again, I guess what I'm getting at is yeah, there's a problem with dirt, debris getting inside the cabs of these machines. And this wet mud up on top of that fuse box does cause a type of electrical leak or electrolysis type effect. But Bobcat has recognized that, and they did make an update kit for it. So I think that's a good idea. What I would do is if I owned one of these new R-Series machines, I would go in and just make sure all those terminals are tight. There's been so many times that I've went in there and checked those, and they're just really, really loose. So let's tighten them up, and that'll probably prevent a lot of this issue. Also keeping the dirt and debris cleaned out of the bottom of the machine. Bobcat, they also know that dirt and debris is getting in there, so they've got a seal kit for these cabs to kind of help with that. That's been released, and that's kind of more expensive. That's kind of on the $1,400, $1,500 range. I think it's a little bit expensive due to the problem that it causes. I just wish they could have got that price down a little bit more affordable, because it is an issue, and the only way to solve it really is with that seal kit. And just your everyday guy, it's just hard to come up with another $1,500 to solve a problem that should not be a problem, in my opinion. But another solution is some of the guys I know have been turning the actual battery around, pulling it up, flipping the battery around, and just moving a whole wire and harness up and around. And that's an option too. And kind of you kind of get that fuse block out of the mud, but I'll get deeper into that in another video. So anyways, yeah, so hopefully this video helped. Let me know in the comments if you're still getting value out of this other than filming the job, if the pictures will help, because like I said, I'm getting a little bit of pushback, and my ability to film has been restricted a little bit, and some of my content is being slightly censored. So it's important to keep this channel alive, because so many people come here for help, and we get millions and millions of views, and nobody really subscribes. And I get it. You know, you're looking for information. You come here real quick, you find an answer to your problem, and you leave, and you may not ever visit the channel again. So no big deal. To me, it's not about the subscribers. It's about helping you, the owner, operator, spread awareness, make you more comfortable working on your machines, more comfortable owning a Bobcat machine, helping not only owner operators, but mechanics themselves. So well over 100 videos of Bobcat how-tos, tips, tricks, repair things, and never once have I asked anybody to subscribe, because like I said, it's not about the subscribers, it's not about the money. The amount of money I get off this channel, I might be able to afford a fancy cup of coffee if that were to ever be an issue. But now I'm asking to subscribe, because we need to build this channel. We need to have more of an influence, and I basically need your help to keep it alive, because again, there is some pushback, and I'm not really going to get into it a lot, but I still want to help you. I hope that these videos are helpful, and I know they are, because I get tons and tons of comments of where we have helped people. But we'll get more into that a little bit later. But again, this is an R-Series T62 that had electrical issues, and that's one place you want to start looking, is down there at that fuse box. Just start at your power station, work your way back, checking grounds and stuff like that. So thanks for watching.